April 17th of 2017, and you are listening to The Observers.
Now, I know most of you are aware of the Boeing X-37. It's a unmanned space plane that is controlled by the U.S. Department of Defense. This thing has been going to space and back for about 6 to 7 years now. It's made 4 complete missions. It's on its 4th mission right now. Currently, it's on its 4th mission. Now, kind of like the special thing about this plane, why there's so much discussion about it, is that there's very little knowledge as to what this plane is being used for. And a lot of the stuff that the U.S. Department of Defense releases is vague. Extremely vague, extremely generic explanations as to what this space plane is doing up there and why it's making so many frequent missions. Now, listen here to the amount of missions that it's made and the time span in between each mission. The reason why the Department of Defense uses this space plane so much is because it's reusable. So every time it comes back from a mission, there's very little time span in between it being used again. There's no development time. There's no next version. It's landed, it's looked at, and it's being sent off again. Now, its first actual mission was on April 22nd of 2010. It was launched and it came back to Earth on December 3rd of 2010, same year. Then it went on its second mission on the 5th of March of 2011. So just a few months later, about 3 months later, it launches again. Then it comes back the 16th of June 2012. A little longer span that it's up in space. On its 3rd mission, it launches on the 11th of December of 2012, same year. And it comes back the 17th of October of 2014. So this took a while. This mission was lasting a while. Final mission, it launched on the 20th of May of 2015, and it's still in progress. Now, the anniversary is coming up. April's just about finished now. I can guarantee you that this will not be back by the anniversary. I guarantee you it'll probably be beyond 2 years. And if you notice a trend, each time that this space plane launches, that the X-37 launches out into space, it is lasting longer out there. Its missions are longer. Whatever it's doing, it's realizing whatever it's doing up there, the Department of Defense is realizing that they need more and more time in order to complete their missions, because they're either discovering new things that need careful examination, or there could possibly be an issue going on where every time they launch, this issue is getting worse, and they're realizing there's nothing that they can do, and all they're doing is observing and keeping a close eye at the situation. It could be a plethora of reasons as to why these missions are lasting longer. Now, I came across this article, which was the only shred of evidence that I could actually find, because a bunch of the stuff that I was finding online were speculations as to what this program was doing up in space and why there was so many frequent missions. This article that I came across was I found it in WikiLeaks, in one of the data dumps that they had put on their server. And it was an email between 2 employees of Hack Team, which is that company from Italy that apparently was responsible for a bunch of leaks from and they were contracted from different organizations and governments, apparently. You can read up on them online. But this was an email that they had sent to one another, employees, about this article. And they said, listen, read this article. It's extremely interesting. So who knows what that means? So within the article, it was talking about Boeing X-37 and the program, what the plane was about, describing its missions, and a bunch of this stuff. So within the article, they start talking about what the missions could possibly be. And this is the only article that I found online that showed this piece of evidence. This was actual documented stuff. A United States Air Force Space Command general was quoted saying this. He was in Washington, D.C. around December of 2014. He was asked multiple times about the X-37 missions and what they entailed and what they were doing in space so frequently with a space plane and constantly sending it back up. He avoided answering the question directly, but he was quoted saying this: "We don't ever want to go to war in space, but we need to be prepared to fight a war in that environment." Now, why is it that we need to be prepared to fight a war in space if we're never going to fight a war in space? It makes no sense. That's because we are going to fight a war in space. And the United States Defense Department has realized that. What the reason is as to why that's going to happen, why we're going to be fighting in space, who knows? But they have figured out a reason as to why it's going to happen. Because no one would say that. Because that does not make any sense whatsoever. And no one really is going to understand or know what's going on with the X-37 unmanned missions. No one really knows what the United States Department of Defense is really up to. Everyone will have their speculations and their thoughts and theories and all that, but no one's really going to have an understanding until the Department of Defense comes out and tells the truth, because all they're doing is just continuing with the very vague answers, extremely general, and not specifying on what their agenda is, because that's truthfully what it is that they're not disclosing their agenda. But there is a reason as to why the missions are becoming longer, and as to why the X-37 is orbiting our Earth longer and longer. Who knows what it could possibly be? But at this point, the only thing we can do is speculate.